Hi there, Yasu. I'm Efrosini Pappas. I believe what you are about to see might interest you. It's all about a place very close to my heart, so you might call it a love song. And you'd be right. That's exactly what it is. My love song to Greece. It's a journey to a country more beautiful than even I ever imagined. It never ceases to take my breath away every time I visit. You may have already heard about Greece's delicious food and endless hospitality, its ancient sites and fascinating culture that have over centuries established much of what we know about ourselves, about civilization, and about how we use this human understanding even today. I'm sharing what you may not know. It's music, myths, stories, along with some unforgettable memories, and images of breathtaking natural beauty that inspire me, and make Greece so very special to me. And what better place to begin this journey than where I began, my homeland. My family comes from the northwest corner of Greece, a place called Epirus, crisscrossed by valleys, mountains, lakes, and stone bridges which lead to traditional villages, and the castle town of Ioannina that clings to a hillside above Lake Pamvotis. The setting by the lake looks as if it's covered by a mist, which always makes it seem surreal to me. Imagine yourself enjoying the simple pleasures of life, listening to a clarinet playing Greek jazz melodies called rebettika, eating grilled corn sold by vendors, and sipping tsipuro, the local moonshine. Well, if you're lucky, you may even see it made while sitting by the peaceful lake. No one would be surprised if you decided to stay just a little bit longer. Heading toward the east is historical Macedonia, birthplace of Alexander the Great. The largest tomb ever was recently discovered at Amphipolis. Who knows what discovery uncovers? In the city of Thessaloniki, known as Greece's cultural capital, is a white tower called Lefkos Pyrgos. The tower was whitewashed years ago as a symbol of peace, following the Ottomans' execution of Greeks, and has an important place in Greek history. Thessaloniki has a marvelous waterfront promenade where you can stroll in the evening enjoying its one-of-a-kind sesame rings, similar to pretzels. It is also the gateway to the Chalkidiki Peninsula, known for its stunning beaches and some of the finest wine and olive oil you'll ever have. Picking olives is an ancient tradition. Just spread sheets around the trees, shake and poke, gather the olives as they fall, and eat some. Why not? At the end of the Three-Finger Peninsula is Mount Athos, a holy mountain protruding 50 kilometers out into the Aegean. Home to 20 Byzantine monasteries and 1,000 monks, women are not permitted entry, nor female animals, which has not always been the case, but that's another story. Greece, also known as Elias or Ellada, is truly a magical place. It's surrounded by three seas, the Ionian, Aegean, and Mediterranean. They are amazingly blue and turquoise crystal clear waters that look artistically sculptured. Can you believe that Greece has over 2,500 islands? Well, technically 2,300 are uninhabited, but the other 250 are individually unique, with swimming by the beautiful caves of Milos, the blue caves of Zakynthos, and the unspoiled beaches of Patmos as some of my very favorites. It has 9,000 miles of coastline, which is like going from New York to LA 3 times over, with stunning landscapes and inviting waterways. Imagine yourself yachting from one enchanting island to the next. You're unlikely to run out of islands. And the climate is so mild, from April through October. It's that temperate climate that enhances the blooming of 6,000 species of flowers, which are magnificent in the spring, especially in the month of May on the island of Corfu. Corfu, by the way, is Greece's northernmost island in the Ionian, with architecture influenced by the Venetians. The natural landscape of Greece is truly magnificent, and when you see its sunsets, voted the best in the world, well, take my word for it, it won't be the last time that Greece takes your breath away. You may just call it paradise. The Greek sun, glistening like diamonds on the sea, provides heliotherapy for an unbelievable 320 days, which helps detoxify the skin and increase vitamin D levels. And the natural hot springs of antiquity provide holistic healing throughout the mainland and the islands. Closest to Athens are the mineral springs at Erypso, on the island of Evia. Here's some mythology as to how it got its name. Poseidon, who is almost as notorious as his brother Zeus, falling in love with many women, abducted Evia and brought her to the island where she bore him a son named Hercules. Hope you enjoyed that mythology. Being in Evia is even more enticing to me because it's yet to be discovered by tourists. This natural healing is simply a promise to open your heart, expand your mind, recharge your body, and uplift your spirit. It can't get any better than that. Well, evidently, it can also sculpt your body. The women on the island of Chios became known as having the most beautiful legs in the world. I've yet to sign up, but I will. Living this lifestyle makes you think of being young again. It's no wonder that Ikaria was described by the New York Times as the island where people forget to die, where the healthiest people, 90 years and older, survive very well, longer and better than anywhere else in the world. Greece's sunsets are mesmerizing. Santorini has been voted the most romantic island in the world, and thousands of couples flock there every year to be married. Greece is also a unique country, and taking a trip there is like going back to the beginning of time. There are huge sandstone cliffs of rock that date back 60 million years ago. The 24 monasteries of the Meteora were built on top of the 1,800-foot sharply rising rock, making them look as if they're suspended in air. You can cross to one of the monasteries being pulled by a rope, or walk across on a rope bridge to another, like Indiana Jones. Been there, done that. Now it's your turn. With the Meteora as your center, west is one of the largest canyons in the world, the Vikos Aous, a UNESCO geosite with green valleys and sheer gray cliffs rising up 3,000 feet above the river. It remains in almost virgin condition and is a world haven for the large endangered species, such as the black bear, a nature lover's paradise for nesting birds. Flamingos are its largest species. Going southeast is the 9,577-foot Mount Olympus, Have you ever thought of climbing it all the way to the top, seeking to find the home of the 12 Olympian gods? I hiked halfway up. Next time is to the top for me. And if I can do it, so can you. Delphi is northwest of Athens. Mythology tells us that Delphi was deemed the center of the earth when Zeus released two eagles from opposite ends of the world, and they met at the center above Delphi. That's where you find the Delphic oracle, Pythia, the world's oldest fortune teller. Have you wished the oracle would see your future? I love these myths. Who's to say what's true and what isn't? Just believe, it makes life much more interesting. South on the mainland is Athens, Europe's oldest city and historical capital. There's some interesting mythology in its naming. The gods Poseidon and Athena vied for the privilege of naming the capital city. Poseidon struck a rock with his trident and outgushed water that would keep the people from ever being thirsty. Athena, on the other hand, offered an olive branch that the people would never go hungry. Take a guess as to who won. Athena, by default, and Athens was born. After all, while certainly cleanse-worthy, who could survive on salt water? On the famous hill called the Acropolis is the Parthenon, built in honor of the goddess Athena. Its majestic presence is a symbol of the enduring achievements of ancient Greece. Surrounded by all the ancient sites still standing after thousands of years, you become astounded at their historical importance. It's truly magnificent. Mount Lycabettus is the highest point in Athens and one of the better places to see the modern city. Quite spectacular at night. There are also some magnificent sights of the Parthenon on the rooftops of many of the city's hotels. Greece is also known to have more archaeological museums than anywhere else in the world, filled with stunning discoveries. Today's artisans continue to create exquisite gold jewelry. You'll find delicate silver filigree designs in Ioannina and unusual stone and marble sculptures with simple lines and bold forms in the Cycladic Islands. What can possibly top the uniqueness of Greece? Snow. It's not just that it snows, it's that there's skiing throughout many of its higher elevations, with ski slopes that have been likened to sunshine in Banff and big sky in Montana. But Mount Parnassus is the only place in the world where you ski surrounded by the beautiful blue sea. Now that's really awesome. On a clear day at the southern tip of the mainland, south of Athens, you can see 7 islands through the 15 columns of the Temple of Poseidon at Sunion. Getting there late afternoon, you'll see one of the world's most magnificent views of the setting sun. And there's so much more. The bridge, the Rio Antirio, is the longest multi-span cable-stayed bridge in the world. And you can go from the mainland into Greece's southern region called the Peloponnese by crossing over the Corinth Canal. Don't be surprised to see daring bungee jumping off the sides of the canal. No, this one I sat out. However, you can. I mean, where else in the world would you have such an opportunity? Now, what can be more adventurous than camping, backpacking, and rock climbing? Well, they do sound familiar, but in Greece, the difference is that you do those activities surrounded by the sea. The possibilities are endless. There is no age limit on water sports. They are for the young at heart of all ages. Further south, you come across the 15,000-seat theater Epivavros, built in the 4th century. Once the healing sanctuary of the god Asclepius, the theater today remains acoustically perfect. Unamplified, you can actually hear a whisper from the center of the stage of this architectural masterpiece, no matter where you're seated, yes, even in the back row. It's mind-boggling to learn of all the things the Greeks were able to do thousands of years ago. Going west from Epivavros is Olympia, where the first Olympic Games took place in 776 BC. If you've ever wanted to be an Olympic athlete or want to pretend to be one, what better place than running the track at Olympia? To this day, the Olympic flame continues its global journey for the Olympics, which were revived in 1896 and did not return home to Greece until 2004. Make the time while you're in the three-fingered Peloponnese to visit the remote and wild Mani Peninsula. You won't regret it. Unique sights are also found on the islands. For example, truly one of a kind is the Valley of the Butterflies on the island of Rhodes. Thousands of monarch butterflies cling to every square inch as if they're glued together. It's impossible to tell them apart. And Rhodes is known as a summer playground for its various water sports. The island of Mykonos evokes images of sun, windmills, and white houses set against the backdrop of the blue sea. It is known for its exceptionally lively nightlife and sipping wine by the sea at Alexandra, known as Little Venice. Its mascot, Petros the Pelican, is usually at the harbor to greet you, although he does shy away from the large crowds when cruise ships come into port. Remember the myth of Theseus in the labyrinth chambers who conquered the Minotaur by love? Well, that's another story. However, that place is the island of Crete. There you find the 150,000 square foot palace of Knossos, the seat of the Minoans, Europe's oldest civilization that had been completely buried by a tsunami thousands of years ago. During its excavation, sophisticated plumbing and advanced building techniques were uncovered, and the frescoes of dolphins and the charging bull are being beautifully restored. Crete's Samaria Gorge, with its unspoiled scenery, is popular with backpackers who end at the Libyan Sea for a swim at the end of the 16-kilometer hike. Try getting over to Sfakia for lunch or dinner. It's quite memorable. You may have heard of the city Thera on the island of Santorini, the largest volcanic eruption in history, the one that buried the Minoan civilization, produced an enormous crater in the middle of the island. The crater broke in half and fell into the sea. Santorini was left in the shape of a crescent moon, and Thera was built at the top. Santorini, once known as Thera, got its name from the Phoenicians who believed in Saint Irene, Santo Irene. Getting to the top is easy. You can go by cable car, called funicular, donkey, or foot. I walked. It was so much fun. The donkeys were nudging me as if in competition with me to reach the top. Move out of the way. Well, rest assured, I did reach Thera before they did. Greece is also spiritual. Imagine experiencing a oneness with the universe, on the island of Patmos especially, known as the Jewel of Jerusalem. That's where St. John heard the voice of God through a cleft in the cave, and where he wrote the Apocalypse. When he heard the voice of God, the cleft split open into three directions. signifying the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Imagine being at that very site. Some people say that standing by the clef, they can almost hear the voice of God. There is also the monastery of St. John, a peaceful sanctuary built on the ancient site of the Temple of Artemis. Greece is home to the Greek Orthodox Church. You can find hundreds of Byzantine churches and chapels that reveal a history of spirituality. Icons, holy pictures of rare beauty, are found in Mistras. There you can also see the fortified citadel conquered by the Crusaders. For me, well, the beauty of Greece is also found in the alpha to omega of its language. It's the richest language in the world, lyrical in both written and verbal form. I've loved teaching Greek. Greek is the original language of the New Testament, and the first two books of the New Testament, the 1st and 2nd Corinthians, were written in ancient Corinth. St. Paul's pilgrimage can be found at Philippi, where you also find Roman ruins. On the island of Patmos, the city of Thessaloniki, and Athens, where he delivered his first sermon about the unknown God. You can experience the 2,000-year-old historical presence of the Jews in Greece, which can be traced as far back as the 3rd century BC. I was able to follow Shabbat services in Greek and Hebrew at the Etz Chaim Tree of Life synagogue in Athens. Greek is also the language of scholars who live a way of life throughout the corners of the world known as Hellenism. It may be hard to believe, but learning to speak Greek and say a few phrases is pretty easy. For instance, to say good morning, you would say Kalimera. How are you? Tikanis. Good, thank you. Kala evcharisto. This may help you. When writing a word in English, look at the spelling of the word and try to see the Greek root. And when speaking English, listen and try to hear the Greek similarities in pronunciation. I think seeing is believing, so let's take a look. In Greek, the word is pronounced elektriko. In English, electric. Geografia, geography. Teatro, theater. I don't think it will take you long to realize that you've always been speaking Greek and never knew it. Greece is also inspirational. Envision yourself being in a 3,500-year-old open-air museum, entertained by the myths of the Greek gods, and inspired by the wisdom of the Greek philosophers, which continues to guide us today. I'm so in awe of this country. Greece is rich in glory, small in size, like the state of Alabama, with a population just the size of Ohio. And you're always learning something new. In fact, 20 years ago, it was discovered that people lived on the island of Crete 700,000 years ago. In 2004, in the city of Athens, ancient artifacts were found as they were improving the metro, the railroad. They encased them and can now be seen in various metro stations, most significantly at Syntagma Square. Greece is not just a living museum, but a modern-day adventurous paradise. Ancient artifacts are not only found on land, but in the sea, where underwater treasures are also being discovered. Think of how amazing it would have been if, while scuba diving in the Aegean, you had come across the statue of Venus de Milo off the island of Milos. It actually happened, and you can see it in the Louvre in France. On the island of Samos, you can scuba dive and find remains from World War II. They even found a computer off the island of Crete in Antikythera. I'm serious, an ancient computer called the astrolabe, the oldest computer which can actually track cycles of the solar system. As inheritors of the past, Greeks believed their treasures should remain in their homeland. Getting back the statue, the Elgin marbles, a frieze of the missing pillars from Lebanon, or any artifacts that have been taken from Greece, is a dream that intends to be fulfilled. Greece is an ancient nation. Among the World Heritage Sites designated by UNESCO, 17 of them are in Greece, and more are pending. Greece is also a heroic nation. The 9 syllables of its mantra, Eleftheria I Thanatos, freedom or death, is embellished in the 9 stripes of its national flag. And Greece is a young nation. After hundreds of years of shifting and changing boundaries, it finally became a free nation, less than 200 years ago. Greece's strategic location in the Balkans, between Europe, Africa, and Asia, necessitates its retaining neutrality to maintain its independence. You may remember Anthony Quinn's portrayal on film of Michael Kakoyannis' Zorba the Greek. It perfectly depicts Greece as a country of proud and independent people who want to be free. It's the Greece I love, where the people believe in freedom and are happy. The Greeks offer with love what they do best, their gracious hospitality. Philoxenia, which means friendship to strangers, to all who enter their homeland. Their food is absolutely delicious, and its cuisine remains unchanged since the time of Homer. Most everywhere you can expect to be offered the esteemed fish of Greece, barabounia, red mullet crisply fried, the flaming cheese appetizer, saganaki, souvlaki, a meat of your choice, grilled on a skewer, wrapped in pita bread, and covered with tzatziki, a cucumber, dill, garlic yogurt sauce. Spanakopita, spinach and feta cheese, baked in layers of buttered phyllo dough. And Greek salad, called choriatiki, with tomatoes, onions, cucumbers, olives, peppers, feta cheese, and no greens. All food is prepared with fresh organic vegetables, herbs, fruit, and nuts grown throughout the countryside, all considered the best in the world. And their mouth-watering desserts are made with local honey, such as honey-dipped lukumades, fried honey balls, and diples, delicately fried like funnel cakes, but have nothing else in common. Buttered kurabiedes, covered with powdered sugar that melt in your mouth. And baklava, with the accent on the last A, baklava, which is made with layers of nuts, honey, and phyllo dough. You can easily learn how to make them all. Or better yet, just enjoy eating them. You can't wait to eat. Good appetite, kali orexi. And when you're finished drinking your Greek coffee, don't forget to turn your cup over and have your fortune read. You'll be in for a surprise. Eating a Greek meal is not possible without the nectar handed down by the god Dionysus. So top it off with wine. Serve before, during, and after each meal. But you have to get used to clinking glasses, and each time you hear the glasses clink, you drink. Yes, each time. And that's a lot of clinking and a lot of drinking. And saying Sigian to your health. You'll be so inspired by the Greek music everywhere. You hear the betika, the Greek blues, and bouzouki music wherever you go. You can't help feel the music. And don't be surprised if you find yourself spontaneously dancing everywhere, even on tables, and breaking dishes right and left, laughing a lot, not really knowing why. Except you're really feeling happy and shouting "Opa!" the one simple expression of joy and happiness. Where else but in Greece can you journey into the heart of your soul and live a dream filling you with memories of a lifetime? Well, welcome home to Greece. I hope I have inspired you to visit and experience your own journey, a journey you won't regret, and one you will always remember. I look forward to seeing you. Addio! Greeks do kiss on both cheeks, you know. The next time you say, "It's all Greek to me," I think you're really going to mean it.